Goal Show. We are back in our respective studios. Fonzie, how you doing?
Good. I feel scammed because I thought we were coming both to the studio, but
yeah, we had a little bit of miscommunication. I was all nice, and I brought you nice microphones and things to your house with your baby, and then anyways, you wanted a crispy, nice look today. That's what I get from this.
A lot of people walking around. You know?
yeah. It's all good, man. I'm excited today. I have a few things that I don't know if you've seen, but I want to watch them together and maybe react and comment on those. There's a bunch of things that have happened in the world of football in the last couple of weeks. Deal?
All right.
For those listening, go watch the show on YouTube. We're going to comment some of this. You know, if it's text, we're going to read them. There's some sounds and different things that happen. So I think the visual experience might be a little better. So this first one, have you seen this one?
This story.
So this story, this is a picture, right, of this incredible jersey that looks like what team, Fonzie?
I mean, Boca Juniors, obviously.
Boca Juniors. So this is shout out to Oh My Goal, right? And they're talking about Genoa honors Boca Juniors. And Genoa is an Italian team. I did not know this fact. You ready? Genoa has released a stunning fourth kit that pays direct homage to the Argentinian brothers Boca in celebration of the club's 120-year anniversary. The rich bond between the two. The Argentine club was founded in 1905 by Genovese immigrants. Fun fact, baby. Genovese. Genovese. Boca Juniors nickname, the Seneces, originates from Genoese dialect meaning Genovese. That's so now we know Los Seneces comes from Genoa.
Know that. I mean, yeah, that's very interesting.
It's pretty interesting. And then we see a couple cute pictures.
Dude, that's a cool. Bro, literally before you jump on this show, I showed you the new Deportivo jersey that they came up, and I was like, bro, I love Kappa jerseys. I'm like, Kappa jerseys are sick. Look at that.
Look at that beautiful thing.
Fun fact, my first cleats ever, they were Kappa.
No way.
Yeah, you were there.
The silver ones. Look at this guy.
We bought them in Brazil. They were all silver ones.
He can be our next guest. Ready? Vincenzo. For those listening, just the picture. But dude, this is an actually incredible campaign. I love it, man. I would love to have this jersey in my collection.
Yeah, that one is cool. I'll take it. I'll take that one too.
This one's really nice. So, anyways, good fun fact. Were you expecting that?
No, not at all. That's definitely a very random fact.
I mean, I always thought
my knowledge just expanded a little bit.
I think Boca Junior jersey is like one of the most iconic one. You know, you see it's in the world, I think, and I had no idea it came from these guys.
I mean, I think both Boca and River Plate. You know, I mean, it was one of the biggest rivalries in the world.
Yep. All right, ready for the next one? Let's see.
Hit me.
Interesting. Our other pro leagues are global and spend nothing but money, but you think we could open up the pocketbook a little bit more?
100%. And the impact will be global because your other leagues, I mean, look at the Super Bowl, which is fantastic, right? It has 120, 130 million viewers, right? The World Cup has 6 billion viewers.
That's crazy.
So a World Cup is 104 Super Bowls in 1 month. It's 3 Super Bowls a day. This happens from here, and this can happen every week if you have the best league in the world.
Interesting. Anyways, another fun fact. A little bit of the topic that we're talking before, this episode, the last episode on the World Cup, and the opportunity. I think FIFA and all these people are looking at the US as this massive market that is almost untapped, right?
I wouldn't say almost untapped. I mean, I think there's like 30 teams now in the MLS. Like there's definitely a lot of potential here. There's tons of academy, tons of kids that play. Like it's just a sport in the rise. So I think there's definitely a big advantage in that. But Yeah, I mean, that fact is interesting. Obviously, the World Cup is superior, is a World Cup. And they'll probably call the Super Bowl one day, they'll probably call it the World Super Bowl because, kind of like the World Series
Yeah.
like that they do. But yeah, I mean, I'm not surprised by the fact, but it's pretty interesting to know that it's pretty much 3 Super Bowls a day on, people watching the World Cup.
Lots of money, lots of sponsors.
Yeah. But again, let's talk about like the FIFA Club World Cup that is coming up, right? And we were talking about it on the previous episode. But do you think the numbers are going to be similar, right? Are the numbers going to be, bigger than a Super Bowl, right? Obviously, it's 104 times bigger than the Super Bowl, but obviously throughout the span of a month, the actual World Cup. But now, is that success going to translate to, the Club World Cup? And let's say it is, a tenth of that, 10 Super Bowls, right? Mm-hmm. The amount of people that tune in. Would that be successful, right? Because it's going to last a month. So are, 10 Super Bowls in a month, does that actually equate to success, like televised success, compared to, the actual World Cup and compared to the Super Bowl?
Yeah.
I don't know. That'll be interesting, because like obviously the Super Bowl is one day and like people tune in, all that in that one day. So if the Club World Cup is only, let's say, 10 times bigger than the Super Bowl in a span of a month, I don't know. How do you judge that? Is it actually a success or not? I would love to see the metrics that they have. Right.
Yeah. I mean, commercially, right, is an opportunity. I was also listening to a different show. This guy used to be, he ran to be the commissioner of MLS and he didn't get it right. And he was running under the premise of improving the youth system. And that could be like another episode here. But he was talking about that Apple deal that with Messi, right? Messi came to the US to play for Miami, but also it was a massive Apple deal to bring subscribers into the MLS, right? And apparently the deal is about to fall apart, right? Like people got interested, they got excited, but at the end of the day, they might not be watching or canceling it. And
personal experience, I signed up just to watch the first couple games.
Yeah.
Then I was like, all right, I'm really watching MLS. Like I'm not. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think, I mean, it all spawns into, the calendar part of it. That was one of the big elements. The MLS calendar might be is very different than everybody else, which I found out. Do you know why the calendar of MLS starts in, beginning of the year and ends in December, like calendar year, and not like the rest of the world?
No, I was going to say something with the, I think it's so it doesn't intervene with American football, actually.
Okay, so the American football owners, they have these big stadiums, right, that they own. And there was a period of time that they were not going to use the stadiums. So they were like, they come together and they start Major League Soccer. So the American football owners actually founded MLS so they could bring the teams.
I need a fact check.
Hey, fact check. You can do research right now. And they started their teams so they could fill the stadiums and they could bring more people into the real estate. And that's how MLS started. And that's why the calendar of MLS is the calendar that we see today. So a lot of like the talk has been, hey, can we change to a more global calendar? Because at the end of the day, if you do a signing with the rest of the world, you lose a player in playoffs and different things and weather and all this stuff. So pretty interesting. Are you fact checking?
Yeah, I'm fact checking. I mean, it says the NFL owners didn't start the MLS, but they were heavily involved. I mean, and I see it, they're probably the people that have the money, right, to buy into this franchise and all that stuff. It says that Lamar Hunt contribution has been huge. I think it's called the Lamar Hunt Open Cup, right, as well.
Well, the Open Cup was way older.
The Kansas City Chiefs. And then, he opened a Columbus Crew Sporting Kansas City for the MLS. So, yeah, that is interesting. Again, in here, what I saw, and somebody else, please fact check us, doesn't really says that the NFL owners per se created it, but they were heavily involved. And I'm going to go with that means putting a bunch of money, bunch of money down. They had the infrastructure, which makes sense, for a long time. I mean, that is something recent where like these MLS clubs, I feel like they're starting to like build their own stadiums and have their own, their own place. But again, the thing is, I personally don't really consume too much MLS. I don't know, shame on me. As we were talking about it, I was like, I feel like there's also so much football you can sell. They're like trying to jam it down your throat. But it's like, dude, people got lives. They're not going to spend all their day just sitting in front of the TV, as cool as it would be, like just watching all the leagues, Don't get me wrong. I would prefer to watch the J League more than the MLS, but the games are like at 2 a.m, right?
Yeah.
But MLS games, if they play on the west side, we're here on Florida, dude, those games are super late over here. They're like 10 p.m., 11. They're like so freaking late. I'm like, I'm not going to watch at that time. I'm just going to go to bed.
Now that you're a dad and you have to feed your baby at that time, you can watch it. There you go.
Maybe we'll see. I'll be watching the football show. But like there's already so much that people are consuming on their day to day, and like you're trying to literally sell a spot into that cram entertainment space that people have like in their regular life. Like I personally think it's a difficult sell. Like I'm not going to give up watching the Premier League, and after the Premier League, I'm going to watch probably, some games of La Liga or like some big games of, the big European leagues in Italy, Germany. But like after that, I'm like, well, maybe my priority, I'm like, maybe some cool Libertadores game. I'm going to watch some of the Libertadores game, right? And then I've even watched the Venezuelan League more than MLS. They play it on YouTube. I'm like, cool, I'm gonna watch that.
Yeah, I do not subscribe to that one. But also, you're a super consumer of football, right? Like just like me. Like we're probably listening, watching all this, and I think part of it is when I say like potential market in the United States. And correct us if we're wrong. Like put it in the comments. Let us know, right? But there's obviously a massive population, right, that are being also introduced for that. And I think one of the indicators was when I went to the trading card shop, right? This guy was like, dude, because I was asking for soccer trading cards and they were like looking at me very weird. And the guy's like, did you know how I know that the sport is growing and why we're buying more of these cards so we can do it? Because the kids are coming in. Huh?
Yeah, the kids. Yeah.
Yeah, the kids. I mean, but not our audience. Thank you for blocking my story.
You're welcome.
But anyways, to wrap it up, the kids are being exposed to all this soccer, and you see it now. We drive around, and I live in a very residential area with tons of kids, and they're all wearing soccer jerseys. And every time I wear my Barca jersey, man, they're like, "Boo, Ronaldo, huss you," and I'm like, "Man, come on, no more."
Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah. All right, ready for the next reel, dude? You gotta stop moving. I'm trying to keep you center here. Can you stop moving?
I'm just trying to avoid being like the Hulk over here. When I'm like this, I'm like fully the Hulk. So I'm like, let me try to get my head a little bit forward.
Pick your spot. You're saying that light was cool. So yeah, it is cool. Let us know. Is cool. Fonzie the Hulk? Fonzie, welcome.
For some reason, I thought it moved. And now I'm like, I'm way too green. I'm way too green out here.
Welcome to the football show hosted by Luis and the Hulk. All right.
The Hulk from Porto.
The Hulk from Porto.
Sums up how much tackling in football has changed over the years. So the 2006-2007 season, there were 18,050 tackles. Last season, 13,418. So we're down 25%. Same season, 2006-2007, more tackles flying in, but yellow cards, 1,204. But last season, yellow cards, 1,602. So we're 33% up on the yellows. So less players are tackling, but the referees are getting involved even more. When I was a youngster, I was rocking shin pads just like these. Little ankle protection, nice and bulky. They look more like cricket pads compared to Conor Gallagher's little plasters. The thing is though now, players wear these shin pads, sort of goading players to take them out. Go on, I barely got shin pads on, knowing full well the referee is ready and waiting with his yellow card. And the rules, basically, players can choose whatever size shin pad they have as long as they're wearing something. And a lot of players now go for performance rather than protection. This sums up.
So good.
That's
so
funny.
good.
That's funny. I used to hate those shingers. I mean,
Dude,
I hate those shingers. They're so uncomfortable.
We should
That little band under your foot was the worst. I hated the feeling of that stuff.
we should bring, and dude, they smell. They smell.
Yeah, after a while they
Bro, I had
smell
these
like
white
crazy.
pumas and they were horrible. But yeah, we should bring we should show yours. They're like the baby one. They're small for my 3-year-old. That's how crazy they are. They're like, wait, where are they? They shift all
Yeah,
around.
I've definitely leaned to the performance type. Like I've always, since I have memory of, playing football, I always remember hating putting those shingers on with the pads and the ankle things. I'm like, bro, these are huge. They're massive. They're uncomfortable. And I've always been pretty hairy. So like they always, I don't know, like it's just a terrible feeling overall. So when I first could get the ones that were just like, you just like slide them in, just the shin pad.
Yeah.
Those were cool, but then I was like, whoa, these are way too big. And I'm hairy and they're like sliding down all the way to my ankles. And then finally I found this perfect solution. Pre-tape, shin pad, and then finish it, wrap it on a little bit with pre-tape, and they stayed in the spot. They literally are right on the spot where they always hit you. You don't have to worry about them coming down all the way to your ankles. And, when you're going to take a touch, you take a touch with your shin guard.
Yeah.
They're perfect. I love it. But I do agree that referees are getting involved way more in the game. And, as brutal as that might sound, and I don't know, the tackles are a great part of the game. There's nothing cooler than of course, a goal in the 90th minute in the UEFA Champions League final is the best thing ever you can do. But, like a great tackle, bro, like I love that stuff. When you see the grit and just players playing with passion.
Yeah.
And definitely, I feel like you got a little bit less.
It's almost
that.
like if you don't bleed, there's no card. Basically, they can call it foul. Yeah, but I remember players like Raúl, right, from Real Madrid way back in the day. Like he used to wear the big shin guards, the bulky pads. Yeah, and it's to me it was always like super interesting. And then they started coming out with these small ones. But that's gonna be a huge debate. Sergio Busquets from Barcelona, Busi, that is now playing in Miami. Same thing. I think still today he wears the bulky pads. Check him out because he's really skinny, but also he's in the center mid, and people trying to get the balls from him.
I don't know. But I do wonder, I'm like, does that hit in your shin? I mean, it hurts regardless. Like, even if they hit the shin guard, like, it still hurts. But I'm like, if they hit you to break you, like if the hit is coming cleats straight into your shin,
it goes past the shin guard. Yeah.
Opposite momentum of what your leg is coming, like, bro, no shin guard is going to save you from like breaking your leg,
Yeah.
So, I don't know. It's interesting. Debate right here. Let us know, what team are you? Are you bulky shin guards team, or you are sexy shin guards team? Which one are you? Let us know.
sexy shin guards.
Bro, I feel like Jack Grealish every time I put those shin guards on. I'm telling you, I'm like, more than halfway through your shin. Your leg is like cuddling your calf right there. I don't even have big calves, but I feel like
it makes your calf feel big and bulky.
Yeah, I'm like, do I need to rip this socks or what?
Yeah, that's hilarious. All right, next clip. Ready?
All right.
Ahí viene. 3, 2, 1. Leide. Ahora. Leide. No, joder, tío, ¿cuándo viene Leide, tío? ¡Ah, mira! Leide. Tío, paso esta canción. Ahí viene.
The end. Later.
I'm like, whatever.
Okay, that was my sense of humor. For those listening, that was a clip of Argentina trying to score against Colombia in the Copa America, and it's just little meme here and there, but clearly Fonzie has no sense of humor.
I have a elevated sense of humor.
Yeah. All right, this is a good one. Ready?
So I've just arrived in my studio for Beckham and Friends Live, my new Champions League show, and I must admit, it all looks so beautiful. Beckham and Friends Live on Paramount Plus. Very exciting.
All right, stop advertising for.
I didn't know they were recording Beckham and Friends in the Studio Podcast Suites.
Yep. No, we're gonna be the next guests over there, so get ready because Beckham, we're here for you, man. Anytime you want to, have
not Beckham, it's Bex. Once you're homies with him, you're like, yo, Bex, what up? And TT, what up?
I was about to be like Becky. Becky. My take on this.
It looks epic, not gonna lie.
Yeah, no, it's awesome. I saw a little bit of, they've been streaming it with the Champions League game. They're all sit down and they watch the game and they kind of comment on it. So I want to highlight the fact that they're
But are they the commentators or are they?
No. They're watching.
The image on the game or the images on them?
There's they're both because they have the rights to the game. So the stream is actually, they're filming them. There's actually they're watching the game live, almost like a streamer, right? So to my
reaction
point,
type of deal.
A reaction type of deal with, Bex and his friends, soon to be us. But I think it's super interesting because the content is evolving, right? And I heard not just content, but also the sport. I heard an interview with Piqué and the Kings League. And for those that are not familiar with the Kings League, is the tournament that he started in Spain and now they're worldwide. But they've been doing studies on how new generations are consuming football, right? And they have the game in the background. They might be watching a little bit for the first 20 minutes or so, and then they go on their phones and they have interactive different things in there. So not only, and it could be from the game. So it could be like the club's app and they're doing different commentating in there. They could be their favorite streamer commentating the game that they're watching together, like all these things, right? So these big networks are trying to catch up. And I've been trying to sell this to Fonzie for a long time. So let us know if you want us to comment some of these games because can get spicy. Maybe we do it with the Champions League final. Who knows?
Yeah. I'm not gonna lie, I've seen the ones that it's people, the Arsenal crew, Arsenal TV, I think AFTV, they have their streams that they do on whatnot, but it's Arsenal specific. I've seen some of a Man United guy that does it and he's Man United specific. So yeah. I don't know. I mean, it's interesting. Don't get me wrong. I love watching the sport. I love talking about it. Actually, I love going to pubs and watching the game in there. But
we can stream from the pub. Why not?
Actually, it depends, bro. If they have the local Arsenal fans watching it together, I love some of the guys. But I don't know, when they start commenting on the game, I'm like, I gotta get out of here. Before I lose it. Yeah.
Before I lose it.
Yeah, I know. It's some of the comments. I'm like, bro, I can tell you haven't played much.
I personally like to listen to the commentators, specifically Spanish commentators.
The Spanish commentators are awesome.
They throw facts left and right, and you're
I'm just
entertained.
talking about the bar commentators.
The what?
The bar commentators.
The bar commentator. Yeah, no, I know, but also English speaking commentators. I mean, watching, if you understand both languages, let us know which one do you prefer, a Spanish commentator or an American commentator, or
I think for us there's a nostalgic side where some of these commentators, we've been listening to them since we were kids. But I do agree that Spanish ones have better emotion, and I think there's some not Americans actually, some English ones that are pretty good. Peter Drury, he's really good. He has loads of facts, and I love his poetic sense.
Well, yeah, he might be the only one that gets saved, right?
I forgot the name of the guy, but he's Scottish or Irish, and he has this super high pitched voice, and he's like, sounds like a bird. Dude, he has a super high pitched voice.
Messi,
he's actually really good. Yeah, he loves Messi.
He does, yeah. He loves the Messi. Messi.
But there's a few that I'm like, okay, these ones are good, but there's some that I'm like, bro. Does this game even have commentators? Been 10 games and they haven't
and I think
10 minutes and they haven't said a word.
And I think that's also interesting. Obviously, with the amount of games that are being broadcasted all over the world, obviously, the best commentators are going to go with the best games. But you could be watching, I don't know, from Premier League, an Everton, Nottingham Forest, right? And it might not be the best.
Hey, I don't know. Nottingham Forest this season did pretty good. They're
okay, Everton, Manchester United, Tottenham. There we go.
What was it that Nick or friend called it? Well, your brother-in-law calls it the battle of the trash cans.
The battle of the trash cans. Yeah, that's hilarious. All right, I have a fun one for you here. Ready?
All right, wait. This is a debate that's been going around on social media. Does being near relegation but winning the Europa League, is it better than Arsenal semifinals in the Champions League and finishing second in the league? What is a better season?
Okay. Benefits of both, right? Pros and cons. Okay. Benefits of winning Europa League. You go to Champions League, qualify for Champions League.
And you probably get a decent sized, winning purse.
And you have a title like this, it's a big title.
Yeah, of course.
A big European title. So you have the glory of that.
Yeah.
And you're still playing your league because, you're not going to.
But you're almost relegated. Like your form is terrible.
But you're not relegated. You survived.
I know, but it's like, I understand that. I understand you.
Cons,
keep going.
You're talking a con, right? That you were like, okay, you almost got relegated. You're not top shape, but people will argue because you won the tournament. At the end of the day, it's like, okay, here's an example is with Madrid. They always show face with the, all the Champions League that they got. And they're like, they say they're the best team in the world because they got that tournament, which is, sometimes is by luck. Not gonna, dig into them because of this season, but
you're such a Barcelona fan.
But I mean, a moment in a championship, you could become a Champions League champion or a Europa League champion by one play, right? At the end of the day, you win or lose by one play.
Cup, the way you play Cup is also different. How like you approach the league.
Absolutely.
But again, go back to the answer. Is it better? Like, sure, you have a title.
What are the pros? What are the pros in your point of view? Because obviously you're an Arsenal fan, but like being second in the league, right, and semifinals in Champions League.
I mean, I would be obviously very excited to win the Europa League. I prefer to obviously win the Champions League and be in the Champions League. But again, this is obviously biased commentary because I'm an Arsenal fan. But it feels good knowing that your team is performing. I mean, it's the third season in a row that Arsenal finished in second place. So it does feel good knowing that you are up there challenging. Sure, you didn't get a title. Right? Which at the end of the day, like, how do you measure? That's what I would ask people. Like, okay, how do you measure success in a campaign? Is it only just winning trophies? Like, is a trophy the success? If so, then yes, Manchester United or Tottenham, we'll see who. Maybe neither will win it. Who knows? Maybe that's a better campaign based on that stat. But competing for a whole season, like, I don't know, that gives me more hopes for next season. I'm like, dude, or getting better is literally just finishing first. Man United getting better is just finishing 16th, or 15th,
but they have a trophy. It's talking like Sevilla, for example. Sevilla is one of the teams that have won the most Europa Leagues in Europe, right? And it's like, do you remember if in any of those they were almost relegated?
I have no idea.
Okay, so for the general population,
I will remember the time where Man United and Tottenham 16th and 17th they play for the final of the Europa League.
But that's what I'm saying. You're like the super fan that will remember that. Like for the general stats, they'll be like, this team has this many Europa Leagues versus this team has no Europa Leagues. Like they're not going to say they almost got to the semifinal, the Champions League final, right? Like
a couple of years ago, I think it was Arsenal, Chelsea. They play in the final of the Europa League, and Arsenal was like sixth place, something like that. And Arsenal lost, and it's like, it sucks. Obviously, I wanted them to win that trophy, but I don't know. I think it's an interesting debate. Obviously, I'm super biased.
Yeah, I think
it's the best in the world, but I don't know. I think it's interesting, in terms of If you see immediate success, yes. If you see, I feel like long term, if you're like basing it on like a long term point of view, maybe not the best. I don't know. We'll see.
I think a trophy season with a trophy, it's probably better than what you guys had.
So what if like you win the Community Shield? Is it better? So okay,
European Cup, like.
So okay. Let's say
now we're getting into like
Shield and you're second place and semifinalists in Champions League.
No. Europa has
European.
It has
what about
European.
The conference league?
Well, I don't know. Like, what's the same as a Copa del Rey, for example? Like, what's the
FA Cup?
Okay, I will probably, in my eyes, that is better. But again, monetary wise, right? For example, like if the Manchester United coach, the Portuguese guy, loses the final, is he in trouble? Probably, right?
Oh, he's fired, probably.
Okay. If he wins it, is he fired?
I don't know, but that's the thing. Like, I'm going to go with probably no. I don't even know if they're going to fire him after the season, but
they fire so many people.
Like, finishing 17 for a club like Manchester United is...
Yeah, but he can claim...
Even if you win the cup, I think is like fireable offense if you want to put it that way.
But he can also say like, hey, he also came mid-season, right? Was it this year? He came mid-season and he's like, we're in a rebuilding season, right?
Of course. I mean,
so he has that card.
I agree that they need to give him time, but he definitely didn't improve the team, you know.
But I mean, compared to last year, did they win the Europa League last year?
No, they didn't. But
I think that's where it's a really interesting debate. I think for like fans like you, probably Arsenal be a better case scenario. I think for the general public, is like if you win a European trophy, that's a salvable like season. For example,
but if you win the European trophy and get relegated,
are you even allowed to win? And if you get you're like, no, take it back.
Of course. I mean, let's say Manchester United or Tottenham would have finished 18th.
I think that's a more white and black scenario where you're like, F no, bro. Like, what the hell? Like, what just happened?
You're playing Champions League next year, but you're in the second division.
That's interesting. I mean, monetary wise too. I mean, according to Google, the team that reaches the Champions League semifinals, they're awarded 15 million in prize money, and then Europa League winner receives a prize of 10 million pounds. So less money.
Arsenal made more money.
Less money. Yeah, exactly. Arsenal made more money.
There you go. So. That's the other point. For fans, sure, you want trophies, but then reaching a semifinal allows you to probably invest better in your team. Happy owners, happy owners are going to be the ones spending the big money in the summer transfer window.
True. All right, to close out the show, because I got to go. Right. The last clip that I want to show you here. For those that are listening right now, it says, hold on. Wow, this is loud. Wow.
More blue flares being set off all around Anfield after Everton fan sold 10,000 fake red flares. I saw that. I was going through the comments. Somebody posted in there that wasn't actually this year. That was some other time. Yeah, but
I got clickbaited.
And I don't know. I was watching when they were celebrating. I didn't see anything. But I don't know.
If it was last year, it's still. I mean, whatever. The intention is what counts. I think it's hilarious.
I think it's hilarious. Yeah, I mean, props to that.
Imagine just being one of those guys that spent, I don't know how many dollars on the flares, and you're like, yeah, we're gonna rock it.
Pounds.
Damn, or pounds, yeah. You're like, open that thing and it's like, your enemies' colors.
Your enemies, yeah, that will suck. I don't know. The Everton fan is rejoicing there somewhere. It was probably the guy from Men in Blazer, the bald guy.
Yeah, probably. And they made a good penny. But
I forgot his name, but I like his stuff. He looks good.
Sounds good. All right, Fonzie, any last thoughts?
No, that was fun. I like the reaction segment. Let us know. Did you like it? Do you want to see more of this? Do you have any videos you want us to react to? Just drop them in here. We'll be more than happy. If you want to be a part of the conversation, let us know what topics you want us to talk about. Drop them down here. We would love to, check them out, and maybe we'll bring you on for a part of the conversation.
Hey, let's go. All right, guys. Thank you so much.
And-
Make sure. And
Let in the comments, let me know what is a better season, 17th place and a Europa League trophy, or Champions League semifinal and second place in the Prem. What do you think is better? Let us know.
bye, guys.